Hey, what up, everybody? I'm back again for another review. Just seen Richard Jewell. Basically, it's a story about the 1996 bombings during the Olympics in Atlanta. And basically, this security guard, kind of wanted to be a cop his all in his whole life and everything. Finds a bomb and becomes a hero. But just one thing, one person said in the newspaper, and it triggered him to be the prime suspect. And this guy just wanted to be as law enforcement and be a good guy and do what he had to do. Now, yes, in the past he had some little history of issues with people and doing certain things, but honestly, he wasn't a horrible person. He just wanted to be a good guy in the law enforcement, and he thought he found a bomb and he saved lives and became a hero. But one news outlet basically, tarnished his name, and basically everybody went against him just for one person writing something in the newspaper, and all his history came up. And this guy truly, was a hero, and he saved. But one thing in the media, one thing said something, and went crazy to look at his past, following him, and has tarnished his name for a long, long, long time. And it shows you in this movie that it was very disturbing, but it's eye opening. Even though this happened back in 1996, this is something that we happening now in social media. Somebody can tweet something about somebody, and boom, they're labeled a bad person without really knowing the full facts of the situation. And it's really, this is history repeating itself as of right now, that all these things happening to certain people like Kevin Hart and it's Ignora, and just a lot of people that, something they did in the past that was very, very mundane, but something will bring it up, and boom, they just labeled this person. We want to counsel them. This really shows that this happened even before the big internet social media boom back in 1996. And this movie is very well directed. You have Paul Walter. He was in I, Tonya, and he does a phenomenal job. There's one scene in this movie, and it's just him and Sam Rockwell, and they're going back and forth, and he really pours it on. He shows his emotion, what's happening, because throughout the movie, Richard Jewell, played by Paul Walter, that he, even though the law enforcement FBI is always on him, he's still saying, "Oh, they're just doing their job." He's trying to be one of the good boys. Not really realizing that they try to label him as a person that's what he not is, and that showed you that's happening now, and this happened back in 1996. And they had this scene I felt like was a powerful scene. Now the movie is about 2 hours and plus long. Some parts it's kind of long. The pacing's kind of slow. This movie is it's not very dramatic. It's not funny. It's very a social movie that really captivates what this person went through and what people's going through as of right now. And I felt like that nobody's learning from anything. Even though we have social media, even though we have social media now, and back in '96 we didn't have much social media, but it's still happening. You have one thing said about somebody and just tarnish the whole name without truly looking up the facts and not just going off of one thing. And this movie really shows. I think everybody really, really needs to watch this movie and see what this person goes through, because this is disturbing. They took his life away for a very, very long time, but the movie, you see in the trailers, they fight back. Sam Rockwell, I think he did a phenomenal job. You got John Hamm in there. John Hamm, his face just like this is like it's meant to be a jerk. I mean, he does playing a jerk very, very well. You got Kathy Bates in here. Kathy Bates does a really, really good job playing as his mom. You got Olivia Wilde. My opinion, Olivia Wilde's character, I felt like it would, she was just there to be that. She's an antagonist because she works for the newspaper, but I think her character was very weak, very just there. Nothing to elevate the movie besides of a situation that put Richard Jewell in. But other than that, like I said, this is a really good movie. It's good. It's very well directed. Like I said, the pacing's kind of slow, but it's a good story to watch, and hopefully people can learn. I think everybody needs to go see this movie, because this is what this person went through from one thing somebody said in the newspaper, and everybody blew it out of proportion, and it's tarnished this person's name. And I think this is a very good movie, a very educational movie, somewhat of what happened back in '96 and what's happening now, that we really need to slow down and don't try to cancel somebody right away until we have the full facts of everything. Because if we just go off of one thing somebody said and not really listen to the situation, then it's not, it's going to hurt them. You know, people in the social media world, like I said, like Kevin Hart, he said one thing back in the past, and people just want to tarnish his name as like, he was just doing comedy. Like you got people like Andy Signore, he did stuff, but the things that the person said that they didn't really happen. He had proof, but we all want to cancel these people out so quickly, and that's not right. And I feel like we all need to look at ourselves first before we just go and jump on something. We need to look at the facts. We need to do our research. We need to listen more before we just cancel that person out forever in our lives and in social media. And this movie really shows that people can really be tormented, get depressed, even have suicidal thoughts because of what's happening, and that's the type of person they are. And we really need to listen, find the facts, and listen to both sides of the stories. Because if we don't listen to one side, we're not truly listening to anybody, really. We're just going out of anger. But other than that, this movie is a really good movie. Paul Walter playing Richard Jewell did a fantastic job. It was from start to finish. He's like, basically, he's in the whole movie. Of course, it's about him. But every time he's on scene, you can't stop but listen to him. Feel his emotion. That scene I was talking about a few minutes ago, about him and Sam Rockwell between each other and them going back and forth really, really hit hard. The emotion just poured out of him, how he was feeling and everything. And I enjoyed that part of the movie, but it also made me think about, even myself, need to slow down, and we really need to find all the facts before we cast somebody away so quickly. But I think everyone should go see this movie. Now some parts like the news person and Olivia Wilde and John Hamm back and forth. I feel like that was weak. That was just something to put there. I feel like that could have been done differently. The pacing, like I said, was kind of slow. Little things could have been edited out to make this movie a little bit shorter, because I feel like 2 hours is way too long for this type of movie. I feel like the movie could have gave its message in a shorter time frame. But other than that, I enjoyed it. I enjoyed this movie for what it is and what it's saying. And I think everyone should go to see this movie. Like I said, I give this movie like a 3.5 out of 5. It's not a perfect movie, but I understand the message, and I think everybody should see this movie. Go see Richard Jewell. Let's make you think and enjoy this movie. And this movie is, yes, directed by Clint Eastwood. Or Clint Eastwood, he's an awesome director as well. He really pours himself in his movies, and I enjoyed it. Go see Richard Jewell. Hopefully I get to see Jumanji pretty soon. But if you've seen it, comment, subscribe, like, and share. Until next time, have a nice day.